So in this series, we'll be diving into the Kilesas and learning how to kill the Kilesas. Now first, what is a Kilesa? A Kilesa is a form of mental irritant. It is a hindrance. It is that which destroys one's composure, that which destroys one's shamatha or samadhi. It is like a small creature or an insect that bites and chews on one's peace. It's helpful to think of it in these terms because what we have appropriate mental images for, we tend to relate to in more skillful ways. So beginning to see these mental factors that create disturbance as these creatures or these pests that disturb and create harm will allow you to start to create some distance between them. Now, many will say that the goal isn't to kill the Kilesas, but it is to observe them and understand them. While observation is a necessary factor and a necessary activity, it isn't the only thing that is to be done. It is just a part of it. There needs to be observation to understand how they function, why they are seductive. However, on top of observation and even understanding must be the effort, the action of killing these things, of uprooting these things. It isn't enough to simply understand it. In the same way, it isn't simply enough to understand Maxwell's equations in physics or the equations of quantum mechanics to start to create quantum computers. It requires an application of what is understood, of these things, the principles that are understood, in order to effectively remove the mental irritants and effectively to kill the Kilesas. So in the series, we're going to be diving into the specific forms of these Kilesas and the way in which they can be killed. Now, this is a much different approach than most traditional approaches because much of the Kilesas will be what you would identify as yourself. You are, in fact, many of these mental irritants, or at least you believe yourself to be many of these mental irritants. So as we move through, be willing to start to see how you're creating and reinforcing the patterns of these Kilesas by identification with these Kilesas, and be willing to kill these parts of yourself because they are not serving, they are creating suffering. So with that out of the way, let's move into the series.